Jacob Young playing Elf combo.
Yep. With a little concordant crossroads action as a bullet.
12 forests. It always blows my mind how little green mana these elf decks play. Like, you got to mulligan a certain percentage of the time just because you don't have any land at all.
He's supplementing with spirit guides, weirdly enough, actually.
Michael Joy, on the other hand, on the right side of your screen,
Playing
mystery deck. Roll. Each player looking at their opening hand.
Alright, I'm going to bail and let Patrick take over.
You have the names on the wrong sides.
Oh yeah, you have the names backwards. So it's actually the left side of your screen that we're going to see. In this reveals at the beginning of the game
two Chancellors. That's
setting
6, buddy.
getting an early lead, 26 to 14. Is the feed down?
No, it's back up.
Oh, okay.
Alright, leads with Forest, Llanowar Elf.
So Forest, Llanowar Elf.
Now, Michael's deck doesn't
Score is
mind
26 to 14.
being on the draw, obviously.
Yep.
So he'll discard a Dredger.
For those of you who predicted Mana-less Dredge, you are correct.
And cheaters.
The turn 2 Elvish Archdruid. So now, how much of a dredge strategy is he going to be playing? I mean, what else does he have to...
like, see, that's the thing. The deck can definitely, like, attack. Like, that's an option.
He's got a lot more dredgers than most.
Yeah.
He can't really afford to mulligan at all, because he has to just discard on
Yeah, he has to. But on the upside, like, virtually every hand is keepable because he can't get...
Well, I mean, every hand
is
keepable.
mana screwed, mana
play.
yeah. It's just... It's possible he can run into a really rough one, I guess, but it seems pretty hard.
Yeah, I guess if he just doesn't have a single dredger, he's in bad shape. But so he dredges again. At this time, he doesn't actually have any insane monsters or anything. Like, he has one Angel of Despair as his only spicy one.
And the Chancellors themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For the most part, he's just going to be getting back some Chancellor or Golgari Grave Troll. Probably the Grave Troll most of the time.
I imagine.
And he's got Nether Shadows and Icarids and Narcomoebas all hopping out of the graveyard, plus the usual bridge from blows.
Jacob's just goldfishing away here at the moment. I don't.
That's interesting. He doesn't really have any disruption game one. I mean, he has Cabal Therapy. But his sideboard has Leyline of the Void and Chalice of the Void, neither of which do anything against this elf deck. Yeah. He doesn't really have any meaningful ways to interact with the elf deck.
He can't affect this board, and the green sensing is just going to get him here.
It's interesting because there's a bunch of 0-mana spells he could have played if he wanted to.
Ironically, Chalice of the Void, which can be quite strong against elves, is not so good for Michael Joy, as he cannot play it for a number other than 0.
No, yeah, this is definitely this is like the only deck with Chalice of the Void I've ever seen that doesn't board anything against elves.
And we've got
a casual Regal Force. Like Contagion. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I guess obviously has a discard on turn 1, but after you've discarded that first time...
Then you can afford to just do whatever at that point.
I mean, I guess he wants to discard a card every turn, so that he can keep getting more good cards in his graveyard, like Nether Shadows and Icarids, but...
It's definitely interesting.
Building an obscene amount of mana.
He's turn 3 Regal Force already, and now we've got a Heritage Druid.
So, if he does not win this turn, he will probably...
he has an Emrakul in the hand, so yeah. Michael doesn't really have any ways to stop it. Looks like he's...
Sure this mana-less dredge strategy is a lot more effective against
other
fair
opponents,
decks, but a combo deck like Elves that completely sidesteps Chalice of the Void on 0, Leyline of the Void, and can still win faster than the dredge deck does.
Another Archdruid. He can now just attack for pretty close to lethal next turn. He doesn't need too many shenanigans.
Like one way or another, I think this is going to have to... Like, the only way this game can... Like, if he doesn't die immediately, I guess he needs to have a... He needs to drive return the Angel of Despair on the Elvish Archdruid.
Yeah.
And this game's all but over.
Yep.
Very, very cool deck from Michael Joy, but unfortunately it looks like it might be poorly suited for this matchup.
Well, he gets back his Nether Shadow.
A little bit of early defense. I mean, maybe he gets a few more Narcomoebas. He gets a bridge from below. I mean...
Dredging...
Yeah, nowhere near enough. Now, Does Jacob doesn't have access to any graveyard hate in a sideboard, right?
Jacob doesn't have access to a sideboard.
Jacob
has registered a 60-card deck.
Michael Joy, unconventionally playing with no land, but Jacob, not to be outdone, is unconventionally, playing with no sideboard. In scenarios like this, you'll wonder, why not just sideboard, like 4 Tormod's Crypts, 4 Relic of Progenitus,
Yeah.
Be that guy and just ruin one guy's day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going okay as is.
Yeah.
And he has his Concordant Crossroads.
Yeah,
The Rubbins on Concordant Crossroads, I think.
Why not?
Hasty Emrakul is probably coming just for the camera. Yep.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't mind
It's all right,
somebody
we
who wants to
respect.
show off a little for the camera when it's 2 minutes in.
Hasty Emrakul.
So he sacrifices another.
It doesn't attack with everyone else, just with the Emrakul.
The Annihilator.
Oh man.
He gives him another. Oh, because Emrakul is going to have another turn.
Yep.
Yeah, so Emrakul does the full 30
That's fair.
damage.
We are dead on a variety of
All right,
counts
so
there.
we're going to the sideboard, sort of.
Sort of.
Jacob is not sideboarding. It'll be interesting. He doesn't actually have to tell Michael Joy that he doesn't have a sideboard. He could just act like he's not sideboarding.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, it's don't even worry about
It's
it.
fine.
Michael Joy, on the other hand,
He's got Iona, I imagine.
Michael Joy has some strange sideboard cards, but I don't think Sphinx of the Steel Wind comes in.
Yeah.
He has
it's probably
White
good
Steel
enough.
Colossus in the event that he needs to not run out of cards against somebody.
Yeah.
He has Jataxian Probe if he, I guess, just needs to be able to see their hand. Chalice of the Void and Leyline of the Void aren't really going to be useful in this matchup, but Iona might actually be a good one, simply because it's possible that he could set up the Iona, and a quick Iona could actually just lock Jacob out entirely.
I feel like that's going to be his best option by
I bet
a lot.
I bet the Jataxian Probes come in a lot of the time, actually, where you just bring it in for one of your cards that's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Jataxian Probe gives you an extra faster dredge. I'm actually surprised the Jataxian Probes aren't in the main deck.
That when I saw the list, I was actually felt that they were definitely main deckable, especially in this strategy where knowing what's going on can give you a lot of information about whether you should go for a Dread Return or not, whether your Narcomoeba should just soar through the air.
And when you have Street Race and Jataxian Probes, and you're just going to discard a Dredger on turn 1 anyway, sometimes that can really, really speed you up a little bit.
I agree.
It can really, really speed you up a little.
He does have Street Wraith in the main, obviously, but
Yeah, but
that's
the Street Wraith works better
synergy with
with
Nether
Ichorids and
Shadow
Nether Shadows.
and Ichorids, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, why not bring in Jataxian Probe? Do you really need 3 Gigapedes?
I saw him removing Gigapede already, actually, so
Removing?
from the deck, yeah.
Yeah, so he's boarding out Gigapede.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gigapede, I mean, it's a card. That you can
It is,
play
it is a
with.
Magic the Gathering card.
But I mean, it does some things, like when you start milling through your deck, it lets you get some of the other cards out of your hand. But Jataxian Probe definitely speeds, looks like a way to speed up his engine a little bit, which is going to be so crucial against this fast elf combo deck.
Pretty sure he didn't board in Iona.
He didn't board in what?
Iona.
You don't think he did?
I don't think watching him. I think it was in the pile he put in his box.
That would be strange, but
No, I mean, I guess
I
it's
could be
possible.
wrong.
Maybe he
Yeah.
thinks that Iona is the wrong type of thing. Maybe he thinks that by that time the number of elves on the table would be
Too
great
much.
enough. Yeah, too much.
interesting.
Definitely 2 unorthodox sideboards, or lack thereof. And no, for those of you asking, he does not have Serum Powder in his deck. Which, I mean, Serum Powder seems like it'd be a reasonable choice. Like, Serum Powder is a way to actually be able to take a
Sure.
mulligan without taking a mulligan. But then again, I mean, maybe you just, if all your cards do nothing, then you don't
Then,
really care
yeah.
which set you have. Dredge is quite possibly the greatest abomination in all of Magic, and this is a good example of the types of things that it encourages you to do.
It's definitely a bizarre strategy.
Probably beats Twisted Abomination for sure.
So how fast can this thing win? If he has 4 Chancellors of the Dross and 3 Chancellors of the Forge,
That'd be pretty reasonable, I
mean,
guess.
that's
Like, it
a-
depends on what they're doing, like if they have fetch
I guess
lands
that's
or
not that
whatever.
fast.
Yeah.
I guess he's probably still faster to just discard a Dredger on turn 1, and then... I guess if you have a bunch of Chancellors of the Forge, you could just Dread Return on the
Yeah.
second turn off of
That's
all.
what I was about to say. I was like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that's what's cooking.
And then the best guy to reanimate would be a Chancellor of the Dross, I think, right? The 7/6 lifelink, isn't that what he is?
6/6 lifelink, yeah.
6/6. Okay.
Flying lifelink, yep. possible. I mean, I guess you could possibly mill enough creatures with Troll to be even bigger. And Chancellor of the Forge might just give you so many guys, depending
Also
on your
true,
situations,
yep.
like especially if you have a bridge. So, Michael, unfortunately, mana screwed, no land, so he discards the Golgari Grave Troll. And
On turn 2, starts dredging it back.
starts dredging.
Note that he did choose to draw, which his deck does.
Yeah, he has to
have
choose
to
to
do
draw
pretty
because he
much
has
all
to
the
discard a
time.
dredger on turn 1. It's his only way to do anything. You're absolutely right. Jacob, kind of a fast start though, right? Like Queerin, Ranger, and Heritage Druid. What's that card? He has 3 copies of in his hand.
I see a Glimpse of Nature.
Three
With a
glimpse-
Summoner's Pact.
3 Glimpse of Nature.
Ooh.
Kind of risky though, because if he Summoner's Pact, he could run out.
Yeah.
That's actually not a very good hand. I mean, it's got the potential to get very good
Huh?
really fast.
This Cabal Therapy could get some action.
Oh, wow.
Jitaxian Probe for the
If he
peak.
can get a creature in play, really, does he? I guess there's no way he's going to be able to do it this turn.
No. That is unfortunate.
And next turn, well, if
Next
Jacob
turn he'll
doesn't draw a
certainly have
creature,
burned one.
It's too risky to Summoner's Pact.
Maybe.
You can't even pay. What if you Summoner's Pact?
Well, if you Summoner's Pact for a guy that you can play and then pay for on the next turn. Like if you get a 1-drop elf, you can just tap your 3 elves
I bet
and a
Michael's not
land.
going to draw Plow.
Yeah, it's probably not likely.
So there's an Archimedes on the Dread Return.
I think he just kind of has to. Oh, on the Jitaxian Probe Dredge, of course.
Oh, of course,
now
yeah.
we've got creatures.
He's got 2 Narcomoebas. And
Wow, we're
the,
silly. But
he's
yeah, he hit there, and now
the
Cabal
money.
Therapy on Glimpse,
Absolutely.
and
Sack that
we've
sack
routed the
Archimedes.
opponent on the second turn.
Does he have just 1 bridge?
I only saw 1 bridge.
Because if he has 1 bridge, he can sack an Archimedes, get a bridge token, Cabal Therapy, take all of the glimpses. Jacob will be with very little counterplay. And that Dread Return's sitting there. Dread Return's going to make a giant monster, most likely next turn. The Nether Shadow's coming
Another
back.
Shadow's coming back. We can hit a variety of things with our other guy.
So, looks like he's fine. This is the way his deck's supposed to operate.
Whoa,
you
he passes the turn.
Why would you?
Wait, what? What could Why would you not
Huh?
Cabal Therapy 3 Glimpse of Nature?
I have no idea.
What?
Well, we're Summoners Pacting now, and I imagine he's gonna find an elf. Yeah, a Nettle Sentinel. What a bizarre choice. Well, assuming he still has access to his Angel of Despair, if he can Dread Return that
For those of you
one
at-
next turn, he can kill him via Pact.
Yeah, that's fair. For those of you asking, it's not that he rearranges his graveyard, it's that when you dredge, you can put the 6 cards in your graveyard in whatever
Yes.
order you want. So it's not rearranging, you're just you're arranging it when
Yeah.
you first put it in.
Dredge doesn't mill 6 cards in order, it mills 6 cards from the top of the
So,
deck.
Jacob taking advantage of this turn where he gets to cast Glimpse of Nature
Twice.
twice, and most likely will just draw his whole deck and win the game.
Well, he did not hit a especially great creature, but he can cast it to draw 2 cards. And
Yeah, he's gonna run out of gas.
yep, we're done.
We
But
are done.
we're doing fine still.
Why would you not Cabal Therapy there?
Wow.
That is the therapy, right?
I'm pretty sure that is a Cabal Therapy. It looks like one. I think I see the little tombstone.
And thank you to Lightning Helix. It is correct that if Jitaxian Probe gets countered, Dredge loses its discard outlet, so he probably just boards it in against every non-blue deck. More Cabal Therapy and even more Bridge from below.
Yep.
So at this point, he's certainly going to he's going to end up with 9. So he's going to when he sacks all of his Narcomoebas and his Nether Shadow,
Yep.
he's going to have 9 zombies that way, and he'll be able to therapy his opponent and only lose 1 zombie when he Dread Returns, and probably get Chancellor of the Forge, right? And so he just has 17 creatures in play.
I imagine that's the play here. He has
17 creatures with an
what's his
opponent who has no
hand
hand and has to pay a pact.
He has 2 Dread Returns in his hand also, which is going to actually kind of limit his ability to
Well, there's 1 Dread Return.
do more. I know he's got the one. I'm just.
I mean, he could
He's
Cabal
got
Therapy
a-
himself.
Oh, that's true. He does have plenty of them.
Yeah, because if he
They're
has
not
2
hurting
Chancellors
the
of the Forge,
opponent.
if he has 2 Chancellors
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
Forge in play, he's going to end
No,
up
that
being
makes
able to attack
sense.
like 30 haste creatures.
Well, he's going to therapy his opponent now.
Yeah, at this point, why
Naming
not therapy
glimpse of
yourself?
nature. And he sees that his opponent is rolling on just a couple of elves.
An elvish, is it an elvish?
Elvish Visionary, and I believe, is that a
Forest
Fin
and
Horn?
Concordant
Or?
Crossroads.
Oh, Concordant Crossroads, not a Fin Horn, my bad. I saw snow. And we're representing a number of zombies, I believe, with that zombie token. 3.
I assume, yeah. And surely he's going to make some more, like, you dread return here. No way you don't. Number of zombies is temporarily going to go to 2 before going to 8.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to dread return. Most likely he just gets the Chancellor of the Forge here, right?
I feel like that's correct, but...
It's very difficult to predict when you're dealing with people who don't play with sideboards or land.
We did get Chancellor of the Forge, and we have the correct Goblin token. Very
So there's
classic.
8 zombies, 9 goblins, and a Chancellor of the Forge.
We're doing all right.
Presumably the goblins get busy.
Yeah.
2 of the goblins die. And Jacob drops to 10.
Did he block? I don't believe they've adjusted the number. Maybe is he thinking about blocking?
I mean, he took 7. He only took
Oh,
7.
okay. I think the dies still read 9, I believe. You might want to message the table judge to make sure the goblin count is correct. And we'll get rid of your remaining cards in hand with our Cabal Therapies.
Not yourself? God, why didn't, if you had another therapy, why didn't he just hit his own dread return?
He discarded it at the
Was it
end
discarded the
step.
slow way?
It's interesting.
I mean, I guess it's Irel.
Yeah, at this point it feels like he's gotten there anyway. Although definitely therapying those glimpses was probably
Maybe his plan
Whew.
is to kill Jacob Young. Make him feel the agony.
Man, the guy just let me
The
untap
sheer
with 3
volume.
glimpses. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. There's some value. Confirming something with the table judge, I think. Alright.
So do we have anything unusual in the elf deck outside of the obvious 0 sideboard cards?
No, it seems relatively standard beyond that, like, Bullet, Concordant Crossroads.
He has 1 Regal Force. No Elvish Rangers or anything like that.
No.
Green Sun Zenith.
Yeah. Only 2 Green Sun Zenith, I guess. That might
Without
be
Dryad
a little
Arbor.
odd. No Dryad Arbor, yeah,
Yeah.
that is true.
Mostly just going to go get Nettle Sentinels and Heritage Druids. And Regal Force, of course. I'm trying to figure out who's the hero in this one. Like,
Because I've heard third-hand reports, but nobody's actually seen it. Was the guy rearranging his...
no, only he was putting the great when he dredged.
Oh,
he was rearranging
he
the
was
6
ordering
cards.
The dredge cards, yes.
He wasn't.
yes.
Yeah, he did not do anything he should not have been doing.
Yep.
Thanks, Twitter.
They do make some catches, though. I'll give them that. Twitter,
Oh, absolutely.
Our Twitter fans do definitely make some catches on.
So it looks like Michael Joy debating whether or not he wants a different sideboard plan for Game 2.
A little reevaluation.
We saw the power of that Jataxian Pro
Yeah,
when you
definitely.
can speed up your dredging.
That was, I had honestly just not thought about that, and it was probably the most important thing he could do, even though he didn't fully leverage it in that game. Makes me definitely think that card should be in the main. Whew. Fanning myself.
This is you fanning yourself.
Yeah. Whew.
So I wonder how often he's on the backup plan. Like where he just has to grind him out with like Nether Shadows and Icarid and stuff.
Yeah,
where-
it's really hard to say. I saw him on that plan against AJ, and I believe that was the game he won, but I'm not sure. AJ said that he just, in the match, he punted, and then once he revised his plans in the second game, he used every trick in the book to get bridges out of the, he already said. You know, wastelanding his own factory, playing Batterskull, and then moving the equipment to kill the germ. I can't remember the other one he said, but... Or, Jitte counters. He was just like, every way I could kill my own guys. I was going nuts.
So what's Michael Joy's plan again if they play a Leyline of the Void?
Not sure. Like, I guess we hope we had Chancellor of the Forge in the opener, and they don't have much for those cards.
I guess there aren't very many Leyline in the Voids, though.
That's
and
true.
some people don't even play sideboards.
You yourself in your article said people just weren't respecting graveyards enough.
Absolutely. I think
Yep.
this is an
And
excellent time. That's why. I mean, this is a sweet brew. This is a little bit more extreme. Like, this guy is literally pumping, you know, nitroglycerin into his face. Like, this is like just pure rush. Absolutely no regard whatsoever for sanity. Jacob Young, on the other hand, playing a elf combo deck, which is often supposed to be one of the cooler decks or whatever, but here looks very tame compared to the insanity happening on the left side of the table.
Ooh, he hit that forest. We were on no lands until we hit that forest.
He does
But-
have like a Llanowar Elf though, right?
Yep. But he just was, as he was drawing, you know, he's peeling one at a time, like forest, forest, forest. He does have Emrakul also, which is not the ideal, I guess, but
So Michael Joy,
he'll hang on.
He's
We'll
got some
reveal.
effects, as always.
Oh, Chancellor of the Forge. Do we have any other ones? No?
He
Alrighty.
does not.
And again on the draw.
Why didn't Jacob Young choose to draw?
That's what I was just thinking. It's
Oh
like
my
he
God,
gets
you
the
choose to
full.
draw. It's just like choosing so many
Ooh,
cards.
dagger. We just drew a Chancellor of the
He's not
Forge.
doing anything. Oh no. These people trained to choose the place. If any of you guys face Manalist or Edge and you happen to lose a game, choose to
Choose to draw. You get a free card.
Choose life, man.
Discarding. No, not another shadow. We're gonna attack. Alrighty. Do we not have a dredger? Could be that we have met such a calamity.
I mean, if you don't have a dredger, don't you kind of have to mulligan? Like, it sucks to get time walked to the beginning, but then at least you get to start playing the game a turn later.
Yeah, I guess.
What are you going to do here?
Michael
Are
disagrees.
you going to wait 3 turns until that Nether Shadow comes back?
This is grim. Dread Return is also not a dredger. Oh, we have a Jataxian Pro. We can dig to try and hit again, but
Why didn't you... He needed to cycle last turn
yeah.
to look for a dredger. I mean,
Well, he wouldn't have gotten there. So
he has 2. He has Jataxian Probe and
Does he have
2.
Street Wraith also?
Yeah.
Oh my! Yeah, he definitely should have been this. Oh, I guess he wanted the shadow in the yard before Street. He's taking a very weird line this game.
I mean, obviously people without land can't... You know, you can't be sure of what they're doing, but...
I'm pretty sure he's gonna cycle his Street Wraith now to get back. Does Nether Shadow need 3 or? This is
to
peculiar.
JVBD, that is correct. As we have mentioned, he is not cheating. He's not rearranging his cards. You're just allowed to put the dredge cards in the graveyard in any order. Alright, so Jacob Young looking to build his mana base even more. I mean, he's got... What's the third elf? There's the Priest, the Quirion Ranger, and...
No, that's a Elvish Visionary promo, and a Quirion
the
Ranger and a
Elvish
Heritage
Visionary
Druid. So he's gonna just start chaining little guys now.
Now this is... Jacob Young's deck is a good example of a deck that would gain a lot from that new Scavenging Wool from Commander. Scavenging Ooze from Commander. It's a green creature for 1 and a green that can attack graveyards.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good, and it works really well with decks that have Summoner's Pact or Greens and
Yeah,
Zenith.
definitely.
And he would for sure want to board one in here.
Along with, you know, any other sideboard cards he might choose to register.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess he might.
There has to be a peculiar story for the no sideboard here. Summoner's Pact untapping a Nettle Sentinel, tutoring up another Nettle Sentinel.
The problem here is that even if Michael Joy draws a dredger
Mm-hmm.
and discards it on his very next draw step, he has to wait a full another turn before he can do anything.
It's true.
I don't think he's going to live 2 more turns, and that's even if he drew a dredger this next turn. Blows my mind. No, I mean, I guess even if you're not going to play with more dredgers, Serum Powder would have been a good addition. But
Another Pact is going to go get Elvish Archdruid. Just try and threaten murder or very close to it on the next turn, I guess.
1, 2, 3, 4. So how many of those Nettle Sentinels were in play at the beginning of this turn?
None, actually, I believe.
None. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Now he does have to pay for 2 packs.
He's gonna have to pay for 2 packs.
So that'll tie up a fair bit of his mana.
Archdruid.
Yeah. He may just be planning to cast Emrakul. That's actually certainly his plan.
Michael Joy is
I
going
guess.
to die in his next turn.
Well, technically he's going to die on Jacob's next turn. Drew Narcomoeba, is that?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it seems crazy. Like, I know you don't want to mulligan with that deck, that you're
But
just giving
yeah.
up a time walk by mulliganing, but man, you can't keep no dredgers unless you got a pretty amazing selection of Chancellors.
I agree.
So,
He's returning an elf
Jacob
during the
deciding
end.
how
He was
to-
thinking about returning an elf during the end step and chose not to. He'll pay for his packs.
taps his Archdruid, adding 8, leaving him with merely 6, 7, merely 16 mana.
And you just draw, is that the Crossroads in his hand too?
He has Crossroads.
The bullet. 16, eh? That's a good number.
Says 5, that's 8. Returns, taps the Archdruid,
Yep.
taps it again.
That's 16.
8 more. 16,
Emrakul,
plays Emrakul, plays
and
Emrakul
haste.
Crossroads,
And
that's
ding.
the game. So,
Old
Jacob
school.
Young, with the turn 4 Emrakul, seals the deal against
Yep.
Michael Joy and his manaless Dredge.
Whew.
A valiant effort by Joy and a very, very, very cool deck.
You guys want to talk to Michael or Jacob?
Michael Joy?
Either one? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you can get Michael Jacob.
I'm
fly
gonna
back
go
here.
grab him.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to hear. It's definitely going to be interesting to hear some of his decisions on the card choices he made.
Yeah, that was nuts. You want to switch back to your seat?
Suppose you want to be by your computer and see how it is.
Yeah, well, it's not even my computer.
Sure, no, then you want to be behind.
Already figured out my spot. Look at that. Good timing. Going right back to us. So, hey guys, if you're just joining us, like I am, that was pretty cool. I did get to watch from the side. Got to see, what was that? Michael Joy's joyous dredge list. Unfortunately, he fell to the elves. Well, really, it was the Eldrazi, I think, that killed him.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, I think that the elves couldn't have possibly done it without Emrakul.
Right. Yeah,
Or maybe it's the other way around, but one way or the other. Like it definitely.
Actually, it works both ways, I think.
Yeah.
So, it's a fun-looking list. He didn't have a turn 1 Chancellor at all, did he?
Every game.
He had something to reveal every game?
Every game.
I actually must have missed
Yeah, the
turn
first
1.
2 he had Chancellor of the Droses, and in the third one he had Chancellor of the Forge.
Chancellor of the Drogs, which one does that one?
The Drain for 3.
Okay. So,
And then, normally the life bump doesn't matter as much in these in combo matchups.
Mhm.
But the Chancellor of the Forge is particularly nice because it gives him early fodder for Cabal Therapy or
Right.
Dread Return.
yeah, definitely pretty exciting-looking list. So, that was round 5. Wow,
Yep.
5 of 7 today is going by really fast.
I mean, it's Legacy.
Yeah.
So, time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly.
And it would be interesting. We're hoping we can get Michael Joy in the booth because definitely.
Definitely like to hear some more about his, what made him decide on this list,
Mhm.
and
It's interesting to think how playtesting goes in. Like, do you need an opponent?
probably not.
I don't know.
I mean, you can at least try it.
But you can't beat Graveyard Hate. I guess. I wonder how he does against the more mild Graveyard Hate.
Mhm.
Like for instance, Tormod's Crypt.
Right.
And Tormod's Crypt's great. I bet he could beat a Tormod's Crypt eventually.
Yeah.
I wonder if he just has a no mulligan at all policy.
Yeah, because he wants to that turn 1 discard, right?
Yeah, but if you don't have a Dredger, what's the point?
Well, yeah. Then you could mulligan, but I don't even know what you do. You mulligan to 6. You mulligan into dredgers, and now you need to wait 2 turns to.
Yeah, but
that
at least
started.
then you just. I don't know.
Right.
It's interesting.
I guess it
We'll
also.
have to see.
Yeah.
Cool. Come on in. Do you wanna?
We're just. I know you were pretty excited about the list, Patrick. I don't know. Do you have anything? Okay, you're bringing your own chair in here too.
All right.
That was unfortunately you lost there, but
that's the way it rolls.
A really fun-looking list, though.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go with like the manaless dredge with the the Chancellor? Basically, that's the Chancellor package was pretty cool. So.
Right. The simple truth is there's a lot of counter in the meta right now. So what better way to fight counter than not cast any spells?
Yeah. Okay.
You know, just kind of went with it, right?
Yeah, there isn't even that much graveyard hate right now.
Right, exactly. You know, it was funny because I read your article and went, oh, great. Now the world is reminded of the fact that, you know, there's no graveyard hate. But regardless, you know, it's still not all that common. So, you know, AJ of course had 2 relics on me in that last game when we played. That was pretty rough. But most of it we can play around. Oddly enough, Tormods, Relics of Progenitus, we can get around that. It's a Stumbling Stone, but you know, you've always got 7 cards in your hand. You can always pitch a Grave Troll, which is usually we hide one in our hands and keep throwing them out. You know, so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It, you know, beat Fish twice the first 2 rounds, which is exactly what, you know, it did when we were practicing it. So yeah.
If I can ask, do you ever mulligan?
No.
That last game when you didn't have a dredger,
Yeah.
if you mulligan, obviously you're going to get time walked because you're going to have to wait a turn to be able to discard. But if you don't have a dredger, what good is it doing you to discard? I mean, you're just hoping to draw a dredger every turn, right?
Right. So we do run 16 dredgers, so the percentage chance is pretty high. And my only other motivation to keep that hand was the fact that I had a Street Wraith and a Gitaxian Probe. So if I had 1 dredger, I could catch 3 dredges off of it.
Is it worth possibly, once you're stuck at that spot, is it worth maybe using some of the probes in the Street Wraith to try to find a dredger? I mean, obviously you won't get to dredge as hard eventually, but you got to start dredging really soon, right? Because if you get the dredger a turn earlier, you're going to be able to discard it 1 time earlier, and you'll be able to use it again 1 time extra.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience against Elf combo, so that second or third turn win thing was.
Yeah, he definitely makes you have to play really, really fast.
Right. I really had to get the Chancellors of the Forge out there quickly. Didn't do that.
It's a very, very, very cool deck. Hey, some people were asking on Twitter about Serum Powder, if you had considered Serum Powder.
We did, and it's all because with Serum Powder, I believe the wording is whatever you mulligan to, that's the number that you mulligan with it. So if I mulligan to 6 and then I have it, I mulligan again to 6.
Right, but if you have 7, you go to 7 again.
Right, so only if it was in the opening hand. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah, I mean, if it's in your opening hand, right?
Right, then, and it's one of those things, the deck, oddly enough, playing with a full 60 cards and no land, the deck list felt really tight. So, you know, 12 Chancellors, 16 Dredgers, we just kind of went back and forth with it and didn't really pay off in our testing, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you try out the other Chancellors at all?
You know, if that blue Chancellor targeted a player, it would be the most amazing thing in the world. Yeah. It, however, does not. So we skipped that. The green
makes mana. What do you need mana for?
Right, exactly. Great. I have 1 green. I can.
Fair enough. Okay.
Have you won any matches today without casting a single spell? Like not even Cabal Therapy or Dread Return, like just actual no spells?
Yeah, actually, in my matches against Fish, that's #1 strategy against Fish is just
no
go
spells,
aggro.
No land?
Yeah, just go aggro. Attack with Ichorids over and over again, Nether Shadows, and take it.
That's very cool. You got to gain a lot of advantage too from people who aren't like sure how to even play against you. Like they don't even know what to do. Yeah,
definitely. My second opponent struggled with a couple things. He just wasn't exactly sure how to interact with it, and well, of course, that's the obvious part. It's very hard to interact with. So, and again, experienced Fish players very rarely keep a hand with absolutely no counter spells in them. And that's really the only hand that really beats us. Is the All Lord hand that goes hard.
What was the? I think it was in game 2 where you the one you actually won anyway. But I think Gitaxian Probe saw 3 Glimpse of Nature and then didn't flash back the Cabal Therapy until like the next turn after he had played 2 Glimpse of Nature.
That was a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We weren't sure, you know. So. That's a simple explanation.
I thought you were trying to demoralize him, you know?
Right, yeah, draw those cards. They're not going to help. That was the strategy, really, yeah.
Which of the fatties do you Dread Return the most? The Grave Troll, the Chancellor of the Forge, or like the Chancellor of the Dross? The Angel?
Again, oddly enough, the deck plays less like a combo and more like aggro. So if I'm in position to combo, then I will pull Forge because I can sacrifice Forge to cast Dread Return a second time and make 30, 40 Hasty Goblins and swing for the win. I usually bring back Dross when I'm in a situation where I've already taken a lot of life loss, and so I just want the lifelinker. Rarely bring back Annex. I plan to against like Tendrils if I live that long. So.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's sort of your poor man's Iona for game 1 before you board it in. And would you do anything different? Like if you were going to play, well, first, do you recommend this deck for people for future tournaments, and would you change anything?
If this catches on at all, if people pay attention to your articles, I think it's going to be a very bad deck to play because there's just going to be enough graveyard hate.
There's trouble with Leyline of the Void, right?
Exactly. No, Leyline of the Void is a scoop. Like if I want to drag it out, sure, but no, there is no win against the Leyline of the Void. Oddly enough, I packed 4 of them just in case I played against Alex today, so we caught the mirror, then we would just mulligan to ley lines. But yeah, no, it absolutely gets destroyed by it. So the intent was just to attack the metagame sideways and
very sideways
and hit it, and then move on to the next thing.
I guess one last question about the what is your plan against people who use discard? Because this might be the first dredge deck I've ever seen where discard is actually good against you.
So turn 1 Thoughtseize is horrible for us, but that's what Chancellor of the Annex is for, is that hope of just popping one out there and making sure they can't do it on turn 1. Hymn to Torak, oddly enough, isn't that bad because the chances are pretty good they're going to catch a Dredger from our opening hand, so we don't really mind that.
And it's already slow enough that you've gotten a chance to get started.
Yeah.
Has anybody chose to play against you? I mean, chose to draw against you?
Yeah, AJ caught on very quickly and passed it to me. So I just look at my hand and say, done. And so it's kind of funny because it's a time walk, but it's not a time walk. It's like they're playing first anyway, and I just haven't done anything. So there's like a kind of a half a turn.
Well, they just get 8 cards, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Very cool deck, man.
Yeah, thank you. And I do have to give credit to Alex Lapping. Obviously, you guys featured him in the Los Angeles Open with his Wizards deck. We started kind of cranking away actually at a different version of Dredge that had a counterspell package. And in the end, after NPH came out, oddly enough, the no mana strategy won out. So, but we spent a lot of time practicing. But he is definitely the deck designer and got me to where I am. So.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks to meet you.
Good luck in the rest of the day.
Yeah, good luck the rest of the day, man.
Thanks.
I guess we can scoot one of these chairs out here. So, it seems like fun. Seems like a fun,
Tons of fun.
Fun list.
I kind of want to go build it right now and just play some matches.
Just
Which is interesting because like a lot of Dredge people, it's like, do you want to practice for the tournament? Oh, you're playing Dredge. I don't really want to practice. I changed my mind.
Never mind.
This, can I watch?